remember Vita Blue? Wasn't he a pitcher for the Oakland Athletics? Maybe not the Oakland Athletics. I'm dating myself here. Let's go to California and talk to Karen. Hey, Karen, thanks for the call. You are live.
Thank you for taking my call. I just recently started with my CEO pack taking the 2.0 tangerine and as well as selenium and the oils, the essential fatty acids. And it's the first time, I'm not sure if I would have caught a cold a couple days ago, but instead I have swollen upper roof of my mouth, and it's painful, and I also have a headache. And I'm thinking maybe I was supposed to get a cold, but I got these symptoms instead because I've been feeling very healthy for the last 3 months.
You mean since starting the program?
It's a very low-grade complaint. It's a low-grade complaint, but it's wiping me out also. Yeah.
Well, does anybody else in your world, is suffering from the same thing or something similar, or is there a head cold?
No, I've been asking people, has anybody had, it feels like canker sores at first, but it's just kind of swollen gums on the top of my mouth, and I'm not sure what it is.
Yeah,
Anybody else has had any complaints?
Yeah, ever had any other allergic reaction to anything in your life ever?
Yes, I used to have Candida albicans, and I went, with the holistic naturopathic journey and learned that my body healed itself and was able to adjust everything through diet. So
okay, all right.
Yeah.
So I'm going to bet you 25 cents that this is a reaction to too concentrated a dose too quickly of the Beyond Tangy Tangerine. So How do you take that? When you take that every day, how do you do it?
I take the powder, put it in my mouth, and wash it down with water.
Whoa, that is absolutely, positively the wrong way to do it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why. So, it's kind of like, holy smokes, what would be a good metaphor? I don't know. I can't think of one off the top of my head. But it's too concentrated a dose too quickly. So now, so this is kind of a double-edged sword, right? Because with nutritional supplementation, it's the recipe that's the thing. It's the recipe that's the determining factor. It's like, it's like wine. All wine is made from grapes, but there's a great deal of difference from bottle to bottle because of all of these variables. It's all about the recipe, right? So It's the same with nutritional supplements. Now, Dr. Wallach's recipes are the best recipes I've ever seen. That's why I'm such a cheerleader for longevity. Wallach's stuff produces more consistent results than anything I've ever seen, and I've been doing this clinically for 25 years. For goodness sake, I used to be a representative at medical conferences for a vitamin company that only sold to doctors. So I have a little bit of insider information about how the nutritional supplement industry works. And I have access to supplements you can only get as a physician. You can't get that stuff over the counter, and Wallach's stuff is better. But that's a good thing. Well, why is it better? Because of the recipe. But the deal here is that the recipe lends itself to, it's strong, right? It's a strong, concentrated, highly absorbable nutraceutical supplement. And you can overdo it. You can take it too quickly. And if you do, it will kind of overwhelm your system and then in the process cause side effects. So the recommendation here would be to put one of those packets, those little on-the-go packets, right, one of those packets in 16 ounces of water. How much do you weigh?
121.5.
Okay, so I would do one of those packets in 16 ounces of water twice a day. But here's the kick. You have to take at least 1 hour to drink it down. Or here's another thing you could do. Put 2 packets into at least 32 ounces of water in a bottle, carry it around all day with you, and sip from it all day long. That's what I do. I mean, if you're watching the video stream, I'm drinking some right now. But if you just throw it down the hatch too quickly, I mean, even if you were to put it in water and just chug it down, that would be too much too quickly, even though it was diluted with water. And pouring the crystals in your mouth, it's absolutely positively the wrong way to do it. And quite frankly, I'm surprised that this hasn't happened to you sooner. But I'm telling you, man, when you dial this in correctly, right, and give the supplements to your body in kind of a user-friendly way, you get even better results than you're getting now, because it's just your body likes it better, and everybody, your cells are happier and everything works better.
Awesome.
So.
Well, and I really appreciate your feedback, because in my head I was thinking that if they were in a capsule, I would just put them in. I used to take capsulized things. So I was thinking the closest to a capsule is just pouring it in my mouth, and then I'll just drink it down with water. So I totally had a crazy thought. So
that's life.
That around.
Yeah, that's life, and we all move from where we are. And so just FYI, in kind of the absorbability breakdown of nutritional supplements, liquids are by far the most absorbable. A liquid supplement is by far the most absorbable. The next most absorbable is a gelatin capsule, one of those gel caps that you can take apart,
Yes. Mm-hmm.
That's the next most absorbable. The next most absorbable is a hard-pressed tablet. And the least absorbable is a hard-pressed tablet that has a shellac coating on it, like Centrum Silver, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'll tell you a funny story. Years ago, I had a patient who had a brother-in-law, I think, or somebody in his family was in Florida, and the brother-in-law owned a porta-potty business. And this guy came to see me for private consultation, and I was telling him about the difference between over-the-counter supplements and other, doctor-directed supplements, and it was all about the absorbability because of the manufacturing process. And I told him what I just told you about the absorbability index, that Centrum Silvers are like the hardest for anybody to absorb, or facsimiles to that, a hard-pressed tablet with a shellac coating.
Mm-hmm.
And he looked at me and he said, I can't believe you just said that, because, I got this brother-in-law who has a porta-potty business in Florida. And in Florida, of course, the majority of people, or at least in this neck of the woods, they're all elderly people. And elderly people can't digest anything anyway.
Mm-hmm.
He said they've gotten into the habit of calling the porta potties vitamin machines, because when they go to empty them, they're loaded with Centrum Silvers. Because elderly people who can't digest anything anyway, they take a hard-pressed tablet with a shellac coating on it, they swallow it, they don't absorb it, they poop it right out, they don't even know that they're doing it. They're not getting anything from the vitamin at all. Mm-hmm. So, absorbability in the world of nutritional supplementation is, in fact, a big deal, second only to the recipe, and Youngevity has both of those locked. Youngevity not only has the most excellent recipes I've ever seen, but they also have formulations which, when properly applied, are extremely absorbable. And you put those two things together, and that's why people who take Youngevity supplements feel better as opposed to people who take over-the-counter supplements and don't. And this is worthy of speaking about just for a minute. Last year, I think the number was $50 billion, of sales of vitamins in the United States. A lot of money, man. And everybody's still sick. Well, why is that? Well, because of this phenomenon. People are taking inferior supplements. They're not absorbing them. They're not taking enough of them. And, everybody doesn't know how to do nutritional supplementation. And this is a key point here, and this is why Youngevity is such a game changer in the industry. Because when, in point of fact, you do take the right recipes in the right dosages, in the right schedules every day, you get better. And, this is a game changer here, and this is why we're going to change the world, because Youngevity works. And this is what we lean on it. I can talk biochemistry until I'm blue in the face, but really what it all boils down to is the stuff going to make me feel better? Is it going to work or not? Well, as you've already seen for yourself, even taking stuff not exactly the right way, you felt better, and you're going to continue to feel better in a remarkable way when you dial in the appropriate delivery schedule. And life is going to get very good for you, Karen, in California. Keep up the good work.
Okay. Thanks very much, Dr. Glidden.
All right. It's my pleasure, Karen. Welcome to Youngevity. Oh, my God. Canada is calling. Oh, Canada. That's all I know. Let's go up and talk to Larry. Hey, Larry, what's happening?
Well, never thought I'd get you, but I've got you.
Here you are.
Anyway, the question I've got for you. I've been kind of laid back on the job, I would say, for the last...
I never would have guessed.
just about 2 years.
Yeah.
But this past summer, I totally hit rock bottom. And I figured, well, I have to start checking things out. And I don't like drugs. I fired my MD like years ago. Should I have done that?
Oh, yeah, absolutely, positively. MDs are great at surgery. They're great at trauma care. You know, if you have, like, tuberculosis or, you know, a nasty lung infection, then they can usually help you with that stuff. But for stuff like this, you know, low energy, brain fog, arthritis, high blood pressure, high blood sugar, honestly, for most of the things that most people go to the doctor for most of the time, the MD is absolutely positively the wrong dog for the hunt. So you did the right thing by not going to them. I mean, you know, if you were driving through South Chicago and you were the victim of a drive-by shooting and you had a bullet in your arm, you would not go and see a chiropractor, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it might have happened right outside a chiropractor's office. Now, the chiropractor is a licensed physician, but that's not their thing. Well, as it turns out, chronic disease, regretfully, is not the thing for the MD, but we don't know this because they've monopolized the medical marketplace for so long. So we suffer needlessly because we just take the wrong dog to the hunt. Stick around with me, Larry. I'll bring you back after the break. All right. Canada's with us. I love Canada. Canada's awesome. Maybe in my next life I'll be a Canadian. Let's go back and talk to Larry. Larry, are you still with me?
Yes.
All right. So, Larry, how tall are you and how much do you weigh?
I am 6'2" and I weigh 160 pounds.
Okay, that's pretty good. And what are your chief complaints? I mean, have the MDs given you any type of diagnosis, or do you have asthma or high blood pressure, or
I haven't gotten an opinion from an MS.
So how do you? All right. So what's your chief complaint like? What are the top 3 things that bother you in your day-to-day life?
My top complaint is low energy. Anyway, let's go back to where I had started here. So
well,
I went to visit a few naturopaths, and they doing studies. They were all coming back to heavy metals. I had 10 to 11 amalgam dental fillings.
Oh, yeah.
And one of them said, you are suffering mercury poisoning.
Mercury poisoning, huh? Yeah.
So, my next move was, these teeth have to come out and I'll get dentures. So that's what happened. I've got dentures now.
Yikes. How long ago did you get the dentures put in?
5 months.
You feel any different post-denture?
No. Pulling my teeth sunk me deeper into the hole.
Yeah, I would have advised you not to have that done. I was one of the first naturopathic physicians in the world to do heavy metal chelation in a clinical setting. I was one of the first people to do it. This was 20 years ago. I don't do it anymore because it's not effective, and quite frankly, it causes more trouble than it prevents. It's an inferior therapeutic, and interestingly enough, the people that brought that therapeutic to the fore of naturopathic medicine were MDs, trying to run around in the holistic pasture of which they have no understanding whatsoever, and they screwed it up.
Yeah, so if I would have kept those amalgam fillings in my mouth, which are manufactured of silver and mercury, where would that mercury have stayed if I would have kept it in my mouth?
Well, the mercury off gas years ago. I mean, it's kind of like, if you have a bottle of Coca-Cola and you pop the top on it and you just leave it on the countertop for a week.
Yeah.
I mean, after a certain amount of time, there's no more bubbles in it, right? It's gone flat.
So you're saying mercury gases off and then it's neutral?
Yeah, it's not there anymore. And I don't know how long it takes for that to happen, but it's not there anymore. Now, you can make the argument, and some people do, that when the mercury off gases, you inhale it, and it goes into your body, enters into the cells, and it sits there for a very, very long time, interfering with cellular metabolism.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, but interestingly enough, selenium supplementation with the trace mineral selenium chelates organic mercury out of the body. So that's a much better, easier, smarter way to do it, is just to take selenium supplementation over a long term. I take selenium every day. I'm taking some right now. And then that's going to take care of it. But look, you don't get, there's a saying in medicine, and I only have a minute left here, Larry, so I have to speed this up, okay? So
we won't make it in a minute.
Yeah, we will. There's a saying, and I have a full board of calls here. So there's a saying in medicine that when you hear hoofbeats, you think about horses before you think about zebras. The very first thing to consider with anybody suffering from chronic conditions, especially if the lion's share of those conditions is lack of energy, lack of drive, lack of focus, is chronic nutrient deficiencies with an emphasis on minerals. So the first thing for you to do for 90 days, in my opinion, at your body weight, would be 2 Healthy Start Pack 2.0 Liquid. That's the name of the product. It's called the Healthy Start Pack 2.0 Liquid. You need 2 of those a month. 2 of those a month. 2 Healthy Start Pack liquids a month. 2 bottles of plant-derived minerals a month. And 4 bottles of selenium a month. That's 4 selenium, 2 plant-derived minerals, and 2 Healthy Start Pack 2.0 liquids per month for 90 days, 3 months, plus eliminate the 10 bad foods. Do that. Call me back every 4 weeks with a status report, and I'll look forward to it. By the way, did you know that the liver can grow itself back? Yeah, it's the only organ that can do it. Your skin can't even do that. Dr. Wallach years ago was treating a woman at Harvard University. Her name was Elaine. She had a big bad voodoo daddy liver illness called sclerosing cholangitis. Her liver was effectively shrinking, and every couple of months the MDs would go in and they'd put stents into the arteries and the veins in her liver so she wouldn't get gangrene, to kind of try to keep some circulation happening there. So she's in the hospital after 20-something surgeries on the liver transplant list, right? Her liver's the size of an Oreo cookie, tiny. And her husband hears Dr. Wallach on the radio. Her husband starts his wife on the longevity protocol for, liver support while she's in the hospital, in intensive care on a liver transplant list. A couple of weeks on the program, the nutritional program, she's stabilized and can leave the hospital. Within a couple of months, the liver completely grew back. And that's the power of science-based, clinically verified medical nutrition. Let's go to New Mexico and talk to Kathy. Hey, Kathy. Thanks for the call. You are live.
Hi, Dr. Glidden. I'm calling you back today. You were wanting to know the blood pressure readings of my sister-in-law I talked to you about yesterday.
Oh, yeah. What's the deal?
Okay, when she was taken to the hospital emergency room, it was 215 over 140.
All right, that's high.
And then yesterday it was 156 over 78.
Okay, so now she's borderline hypertensive, but I'm assuming that's with medication, right?
Yes, and they've also put her on Plavix for 1 year and aspirin for life.
Well, both of which are ridiculous treatments, not supported by the literature. But, of course, right, when you're the king, you can do whatever you want. And then, by the way, there's something called off-label prescribing, which is, an MD will prescribe a high blood pressure medication to help somebody sleep or whatever. because in their clinical experience, they've found that it's effective to help people sleep, even though it hasn't been double-blinded, it hasn't been clinically proven. It's called off-label prescribing. MDs do it all of the time. It's really hard to statistically analyze how much that happens, but conservative estimates are it happens more than 40% of the time. Liberal estimates are that it happens more than 70% of the time, off-label prescribing. So, you know, the MDs, they're all about double-blind this and science-based that, and let's do controlled studies, except when they don't want to do that, then it's okay for them to do it and, you know, do off-label prescribing, whatever. And, you know, nobody calls them on it. Nobody holds their feet to the fire because, you know, they're the almighty MD. So remember, from my point of view, 140/90 is the high level of normal blood pressure, the high level of normal blood pressure. And in order for someone to need a blood pressure intervention, their numbers need to be above 140/90, 3 readings in a row. Both numbers must be elevated 3 readings in a row. So this is her baseline now, her medicated baseline, 156/78. So the recommendation holds that I talked about yesterday.
Okay.
She has to take her blood pressure twice a day at the same time every day and write the numbers down. Don't just record them into the computer of the machine. Write them down on a piece of paper with a date, right, and a time, so that she can see the visual trend. And when the numbers start to reduce, right, so it's 156/78 now, you know, a week from now it might be 150/75, and then 2 weeks from now it might be 145/72, and a month from now it might be 135/60, whatever. When she sees a downward trend, which is consistent, you know, after she started the medical nutrition program, then she goes back to the MD and has them withdraw her from the blood pressure meds, and then just continue to take the blood pressure numbers every day. And this is how we do it. We measure the stuff all of the time, and then as the numbers get better, we reduce the prescription meds while we maintain the discipline with the medical nutrition, and then life is good. Because remember, our goal here is a goal which is completely outside of the ideation of the MD. Our goal, which the MDs don't even think about, I mean, it is so far outside of their wheelhouse, they do not even think about this. Don't think it's possible. Our goal is to get people so healthy that they don't need to take prescription meds. She doesn't have high blood pressure because she has a high blood pressure medication deficiency, right? But the MDs believe that. The MDs are not concerned with the genesis of the blood pressure condition and what causes it, because as far as they're concerned, the human body is a biochemical bag waiting to break. And once it does break, it can't be unbroken. And the patient's only option is to not cure the condition by getting to the root of the problem and fixing it, but to manage the symptoms for the rest of their lives with drugs. Now, interestingly, with high blood pressure, what happens invariably is, you know, someone has high blood pressure because they have calcium and magnesium deficiencies, let's say. So they'll go to an MD. Yeah, they've got high blood pressure. It's definitive. And the MD puts them on a blood pressure medication. The blood pressure medication reduces their blood pressure to normal levels or acceptable levels. But how does the blood pressure medication work? Well, the blood pressure medication works by manipulating biochemical pathways in the body, all of which are made from vitamins and minerals and essential fatty acids and nutrients. So the longer that you're on the medication, the less nutrients you have, because the medication burns through your nutrients. So, you know, 6 months on a blood pressure medication, it stops working. You go back to the doctor and they increase the dose. Or they add another blood pressure medication, or a third or a fourth. And this is what happens almost 100% of the time. The longer that people are on blood pressure medications, the less effective they are, and then the doctors start just throwing stuff against the wall to see what'll stick. And you telling me that you really think that the geniuses in the pharmaceutical industry, and those people are smart, by the way, you think that they don't know this? You think that they don't know the relationship between minerals and the action of prescription medications? You think they don't know this? They know this. And, you know, in a sane humanistic world, not driven by pharmaceutical money, it would be mandatory for the drug companies to put vitamins and minerals in the drugs to make the drugs work better. So people would need less drugs, but that's not a good idea financially, so they don't do it. And, we suffer and die. So that's the long and the short of it. That was high blood pressure. Now remember, right, that every dog has his day, and the wheelhouse of the MDs is heroic trauma care and surgery when it's necessary. A good friend of mine, the commander, Mark Denning, who's a retired veteran of the Army. He's a registered nurse. His job is he's the guy in the back of the ambulance keeping people alive when they're being rushed to the hospital for trauma care. So, that's a good thing. And that's a good thing. But now that she hasn't died of a heart attack, which is a good thing, we need to figure out what the heck is causing all of this stuff to begin with and try to support the body in its attempt to fix that. And the MDs are never, ever going to do that. And so now we're kind of between a rock and a hard place. But, she has you. And that's kind of like the ace up her sleeve is your existence in her life. Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you so much.
All right, Kathy.
Pass this along.
All right, appreciate it very, very much. Appreciate the trust, appreciate the ear, appreciate the call. And North Kakalaki is up next, North Carolina. Which is better, ladies and gentlemen, North Carolina or South Carolina? I think Jason's going to say North Carolina. Hey, Jason, thanks for the call. You are live.
Hey, how's it going, Dr. Glidden?
Jason, come on, give it to me straight. North Carolina or South Carolina? Which one's better?
North Carolina.
Exactly. Now, what part of the Carolina? What part of the state are you in?
Greensboro, North.
Yeah, I spent 9 of really happy months in my youth in Durham, North Carolina.
Oh, okay.
I moved there in September. I was hanging out with a buddy of mine that was going to Duke University.
Uh-huh.
And I was knocking around doing odd jobs in North Carolina. And I moved there in September. It was a nice, really pretty autumn, and then winter lasted for like 4 weeks. And spring started, and sometime in late February, early March. Spring lasted for 3-4 months. It was the most beautiful spring I ever saw. But man, oh man, when summer hit.
Hey, come on back.
When summer hit, I had to leave, man. It was too hot. I couldn't handle it. We were, poor college students back in the day. Our cars didn't even have air conditioning.
Right.
So living in the Carolinas, living below the Mason-Dixon line without air conditioning, not everybody can do that.
But you could always go to Mississippi during the summer.
Oh my God! Just shoot me now. I know. Can you believe it? When I was there, man, I thought to myself, holy man, how could anybody just be there before air conditioning? It's really, really, really bad.
Telling you, they have some bad summers down there.
Bad, man, bad. But I guess their argument is, well, you have bad winters up there. But I tell you what, I'd rather be cold than hot. That's just me.
Me too. Especially if you're overweight and stuff, it's really that much worse,
Yeah, and especially if you were raised a damn Yankee like I was. So what are you gonna do?
Well, my wife's from North Carolina. I moved up here with her. I'm from Mississippi, but
oh man, so
I come from the fried state,
So you're loving it.
Yeah.
Hey, Jason, man, you're awesome. Thanks for the call. How can I help?
Well, I had talked to you a few weeks ago, and of course I'm type 2 diabetic. I weigh 350 pounds, and I had talked to you a few weeks ago, and I said that my legs were swelling, and I think you recommended some enzymes for that.
Yeah.
But what I didn't tell you, I forgot to tell you that I was diagnosed with, because I guess your legs can swell for different reasons, but I was diagnosed with venous insufficiency. I had the reddish, purplish, bluish feet and legs, And I was wondering, I didn't actually, my supplies come in today. But instead of getting the enzymes, I got the Ultimate Daily tablets I was getting those for circulation.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. That's not a bad idea. Another thing that you can do is get a copper bracelet and start to wear it so that the copper in the bracelet is against your skin. Sometimes when they make a copper bracelet, they'll put brass on the inside of it or aluminum or something on the inside of it. You want to make sure that the copper part of the bracelet is actually touching your skin. Because
like
in
your arm?
Yeah, right around your wrist, right on your wrist, like where you would watch, right?
Okay.
You get a nice, thick, manly, Viking-looking, copper bracelet, right? And I'm not talking
Where
like
do you get those at?
I don't know, man. Just go online. You can find them.
Okay.
Or I don't know if they ever have county fairs down where you live, but you can often pick them up there. But you need copper to support and promote healthy veins, specifically veins. Now, Youngevity's selenium has extra copper in it. And I would recommend that you add to your program 4 bottles of Youngevity's selenium a month, 4 bottles of Youngevity's selenium per month, in addition to what you're already doing now. And you may want to, for 3 days in a row, do the Suero Cleanse, Suero. It's a brand new thing in Youngevity. Check that out in about 4 weeks. Call me back with a report. I'll look forward to it. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Dr. Peter Glidden here, finishing out today's show. Remember, this is Cancer Awareness Month, real awareness about cancer, not just mainstream medical, Machiavellian, monopolistic, mediocre nonsense. This is real information about cancer, what's really going on here. We're pulling back the curtain. We're telling it like it is, which you would assume your healthcare practitioner would also do, but they don't. You're sold a false bill of goods often, or you're not even given the option. Oh, we've just diagnosed cancer, Mrs. Smith. We're going to start you tomorrow on chemo. And they don't even give you the choice. It's your body. It's not theirs. You need education. You need information. You need awareness. You need to know how effective their programs are. You need to know what the side effects are. You need to know how much they're going to cost. You need to know how much they're going to profit from it. You need to talk to people who've done their program and see how their life is. You need to know how their treatments are going to affect the quality of your life. You need to know a lot of things that they don't tell you. They're not forthcoming. Because quite frankly, if they told you all of the real true stuff about cancer treatment, you wouldn't do the cancer treatment. So, knowledge is power. A week from this coming Monday in a couple days, the 6th of October, breast cancer. The 13th of October, colon cancer. The 20th of October, prostate cancer. The 27th of October, lung cancer. Also, this month, it's Naturopathic Awareness Time. Naturopathic Awareness Time. So I am privileged to tell you we have so far dialed in an exclusive interview with Dr. Joseph Pizzorno, one of the main reasons, one of the people directly responsible for the resurgence of naturopathic medicine in the 20th and 21st centuries. Without Dr. Pizzorno, naturopathic medicine would not exist with the degree of political and professional acclaim that it enjoys right now. Dr. Pizzorno, a real mover and shaker in the world of naturopathic medicine. He will be my guest on the 23rd of October. The first president of the American Association of Naturopathic Physicians, Dr. James Sensenig, also an outspoken advocate of cancer treatment, a naturopathic cancer treatment, and has a really remarkable story to tell about the history of chemotherapy in the United States. He'll be my guest, God willing, and the creek don't rise on October 22nd. David Schleich, Ph.D., the president of the National College of Naturopathic Medicine, will also be my guest sometime this month. We're still trying to dial in that date. And more people, more and more interviews are coming your way because this is necessary, useful, helpful information. And quite frankly, I'm quite surprised nobody before me has done this, but they haven't. So I've risen to the challenge, and I'm offering this radio program up as a clearinghouse of sorts of information that you need and that you can spread for free I mean, every time we record a radio program, we also videocast it. And when we videocast it, we edit the program. And a couple of days after the edited program, after the program has aired live, the edited edition is available on my website for free. You don't have to be an insider. You don't have to be a subscriber. You don't even have to give me an email address to access my archived radio stuff on the website. It's there for everybody, and it's searchable, which is awesome. Why do we do that? Because somebody had to. My people are destroyed by lack of knowledge. Well, guess what? There's a new sheriff in town. I am your steadfast advocate for health, Dr. Peter Glidden, and I'm looking forward to pulling back the curtain more and more every day on how medicine is delivered here, not just in the U.S., but all around the world, and more importantly, give you information and insight about science-based, clinically verified alternatives to drugs and surgery, which are available for you right here, right now. Worldwide health webinar live tonight, 8 o'clock Central Time. Migraines and migraines. Generalized headache stuff and migraines. What to do to support and promote your body's ability to get on the other side of it. I'm Dr. Peter Glidden, your steadfast advocate for health. Live long and prosper. See you tonight, 8 o'clock Central Time.